I love that we're kicking this off with me admitting that I totally fucked up and forgot the intro music for this last week. Oh man, which means I probably shouldn't even do the intro, but I guess I will. Nick Umble, welcome to the podcast. I want to bring up, to cut you off in whatever you were going to say instead, that you, in true strongman fashion, were just fucking cooking up some steaks.
Bro, 350 grams of protein a day. That's 4 chicken breasts or 2 steaks. You take your pick. 20 ounces, it's 20 ounces of meat, whichever way you do it. Some I can go have, like if I do chicken, I can have pudding afterwards because there's no fat or carbs in chicken. With
Hell yeah.
Steak, I got to do some other bullshit to make up, but yeah, man.
Dude, so how do you prepare your steaks?
Medium rare. Do I cook on the grill year round? Like there'll be snow, I shovel it off the deck and turn my grill on.
Hell yeah, as one should. So any seasonings on this thing, or you just go salt, pepper?
I got this. So there's this seasoning company, if you will, on Amazon called Derek Wolf, I think, or Spiceology. And I get this maple brown sugar bourbon something mix.
Holy shit.
It is awesome. As a matter of fact, I will send you the link as soon as we get off here so that you have it.
Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully AI Claude might find it automatically for me, which would be great. And it'll be linked in the show notes, less for the listeners, more for myself. But what'd you say that was? Maple bourbon?
Hold on, I'll look it up. It's maple something or other, man.
Everybody listening, you will wait and you will like it because it will be worth it. He is looking this up for your benefit right now. And I'm not going to take this out. I'm going to leave all this.
Maple bourbon, I believe, is what it's called. Yeah, it's made by Spiceology, and it's called the Derek Wolf Maple Bourbon by Spiceology.
Sick.
And there's some other ones, like habanero honey is really good.
Oh, yeah.
They got one called Cowboy Crust, and it has like espresso beans crushed in it. And you think it, like, I don't want my meat tasting like coffee, but for some reason, when you put it on, the coffee taste goes away, but it burns a crust on the meat, and it's really good. Really good.
I have used that quite a bit on like pulled pork, and it makes such a good bark.
Yes.
And to your point, pulled pork, I feel like I wouldn't mind tasting like coffee compared to steak. But to your point, it doesn't really make it taste that way, but it totally gives it a killer texture.
They have one called Black Magic that's like a Cajun seasoning. That's really good. I think those are the only 4 I really use.
You sure that's not a different website?
No. I know where you're going with this, and it's not. It is absolutely not.
I don't know what you're talking about. Talk about why you're consuming 350 grams of protein a day.
I hired a nutritionist, and we couldn't figure out why I wasn't eating that terribly. It wasn't great, but it was probably a 70% solution. And I wouldn't gain weight or lose weight, and I couldn't understand what I was doing. So we took my body mass, and at one point I was 200, at that point, maybe a year and a half ago, I was at 240 pounds of lean muscle mass. And so she's like, let's do 1 gram per lean pound of body mass. And it still didn't work. So she upped it to 300, I think. And all of a sudden, like overnight, man, like I just started cutting weight. And then I went to 350 just to see, like, oh, let me play with this a little bit. And it actually works out better for me. I've hovered. So I went down to like 330, and now I'm back up to 350. But I think the reason I gained weight in the fall is because I work out in my gym outside, and I live in West Virginia, and it's like a rainforest in the summer. So you are just emaciated after a workout. Yeah. And no matter how many hydrates from Transparent Lab or LMNT drinks you have, you cannot replace all of that. I haven't gained any weight put on those 20 pounds or 15 pounds. I think it was at 335. So I put on about 15 pounds, but I haven't gained any weight over the winter other than that. And now I think the other day I weighed in, I'm at 46. So, but it's gotten hotter now, and I'm in the gym, and there's no heater, and it's not cold, and I got the doors open. And so I think that was a big part of it.
I like that you were honest about, you were like, I didn't eat too bad, probably about like 70% decent. Because I will tell you what, as a coach who currently does way more nutrition counseling than I care to. It's not my favorite thing. As soon as someone says something like, I eat pretty clean, or I think my diet's fine, but they come to me for nutrition advice. Like, first of all, like, we already know it's not, because if it was, you'd be getting the results you wanted. You're not getting those results, so you're coming to see me. But inevitably, like, that's the same person who, like, isn't hitting 100 grams a day of protein, who is eating almost no fruit, no vegetables, who has no rhythm or rhyme or reason to what they're consuming. Like, it fucking kills me. And I'm like, you don't eat, like, what the fuck does it even mean to eat clean? And as soon as they start telling me what they're doing, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that doesn't belong in the dictionary next to eating clean. So at least you had a better starting point.
Well, I have a pretty good routine. I get up in the morning and I have 2 scoops of protein. I put a scoop of collagen and a scoop of creatine. So, side note for creatine, every creatine I have ever tried over the last 10 years of my life gives me the screaming shits.
Really?
Dude, it's so bad. Horrible. So for some odd reason, Transparent Labs has HMB in their creatine, and it does nothing to my system. So I'm like, this is awesome. So I've been taking 5 grams of creatine with the 2 scoops and the collagen every day. I just throw it in a shaker, shake it up, and drink it. Then I have 2 Transparent Labs protein bars mid-morning. Then I eat a Factor meal for lunch every day. And then I come home, and if I don't have a ton of carbs in my system, I'll have like a tortilla with natural peanut butter and honey on it. Then I'll go lift if it's a lifting day. If not, then for night meals, I have 20 ounces of some sort of meat, either chicken, steak. I'll do 2 burgers. 2 Wagyu burgers, because I get all of my meat from Good Ranchers. And then with that, I'll have a 6 ounce or 8 ounce like steak. So to get in, and it's hard, dude, eating 350 grams of protein and my intake's 3,800 calories a day, which is like probably twice what you can have in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right now, my goal has been somewhere around the 150 mark, and I fall short pretty often. And like, I love to eat. So it's not that. It's just like, that's a pretty high fucking number.
It's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, the only thing that saves me is 2 scoops of protein in the morning, because I can hit 80 grams almost like that, or 50 some grams. So that knocks out 50 right away. I don't know, man. My carbs, I think, I don't know, I can pull it up. My carbs are like 200, I think. And I can have like 2. I just changed my carbs and fat to up my, to 3,800 calories. I'm at 300 grams of protein. I'm at 200 grams of carbs and 200 grams of fat is what I do daily. And my whole goal is, if I meet my protein, I don't care about anything else. As long as my protein goal is met and I'm under carbs, or I'm under fat, or I'm under calories, I don't care about eating anymore, as long as I meet the protein goal at the end of the day.
Yeah. And like we talked about earlier, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but like, your training also provides some feedback. So like, if you're feeling underfueled, you're going to know it pretty quick if you need to up the carbs and things like that.
I get so hungry.
Do you make any adjustments on lifting days, or is every day kind of just that's what it is?
No, I don't change the diet daily. I just pick out meat, I throw it in the fridge, and I have 2 days in there unthawing. And then every day I just pull out whatever is first. So I think tomorrow is like 2 burgers and a steak, and the next day is like a 18 ounce ribeye.
Okay. Now I'm getting hungry. I ate a little bit before this. Now I feel like I should have ate more. Megan's at the grocery right now. Maybe I'll just text her and be like, ribeye, all caps, and just see what happens.
Oh, dude.
She wouldn't be sad about it. She'd be like, fuck yeah, don't. She'd be like, say less.
It's been such a journey for me, man. Like this whole strongman thing. I think I started in 2020 with Hunter, and it's 5 years down the road now, and it's been just, I don't know, man. I went to my first comp in February. I trained for a solid year. And then I did my first comp, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I love the strongman community. Yeah. I love everything about it. So I guess my point is, my whole life I've been on a team. I was either on a sports team or an SF team. And then I played football after I got out. And then I didn't have anything that was mine. And there's no one to blame. Like, people bitch and complain all the time. Oh, this guy uses a different log than I use, and I'm like, whatever, man. Like, and strength is one of those things, and you know this, is that you can't fake it. You cannot fake being strong. You are either strong or you're not. There's no way about it. It doesn't matter. Like, I've added 20 pounds of muscle. I think I'm at 260 pounds of lean body mass. So, and my deadlift has gone through the roof, which is a funny story. I didn't apparently know how to deadlift until like 6 months ago. And now that I have figured out how to deadlift, you guys always told us that Thor push the floor away. What the fuck does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And then I figured out it just meant stand up.
Stand the fuck
just stand up. Just stand up.
A buddy of mine was deadlifting the other day, and I shit you not, I'm 20 feet away, and I'm like, stand the fuck up.
And once I figured it out, I was like, whoa. And my deadlift has gone from 585 to, I could probably pull over 700 right now. I've never pulled above 650. I tried 680. I started to fall forward, and at that weight, you're not saving it. So I just dumped it and called it for the night. But yesterday I did 525, 550, 575 for 6 each. And I took about a 5-minute break between each one of those sets. So I think I'm confident if I put 700 on the bar in the next couple of weeks, I could pull it.
Yeah. So where did your numbers start? So like, not even at that first comp, but year prior when you just decided like, hey, I'm going to set my sights on Strongman. Where were some of your relevant numbers? Can you?
Yeah, I think my squat was I keep every record of every PR I've ever hit in an app called PR.
Appropriately.
October of 2020. So I'd already been training for about 8 or 9 months at that point, and I hit a 475 for 2 reps.
On deadlift?
No. On squats.
Okay.
So probably somewhere around 405. My deadlift was definitely not above 500 pounds at all. And my deadlift when Blair was coaching was probably the highest I ever hit was 585 on a conventional deadlift. And I think I've sent you this text. Like, I remember a decade ago lifting at Thor and hitting a 500-pound sumo and thinking like I was on top of the world for that lift.
Yeah.
And now I consistently rep like well over 500 pounds.
Yeah. And I mean, strength wise, like for us, for you, does that make sense? For us, for you? Sure. We didn't need you stronger than that, right? Like,
yeah, correct.
You could do everything in that world. And then your capacity was also absurd, which I think is worth bringing up, by the way, for anyone who doesn't already know this, which is going to be most of you. That's where we met. I think it was like day 0 for me coaching at Thor at First Group, and you rolled in at some point and started squatting and started talking, and that kind of defines our next few years of knowing each other.
I think my best like lift I ever had at Thor was my farmer. My farmer carry has always been strong.
Strong. Your farmer carry is epic. Fun. Yeah, fucking banana hands.
I do. They're like NFL caliber size hands.
But you're also strong and can grip the shit. I mean, we used to have to try to find new things for you to carry because like we were running out of shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. A buddy of mine did a load carriage presentation. Actually, he was a guest on the podcast, Noel Brand, and he did a presentation at a conference on carries a few years ago. And I was reminiscing a little bit when I was chatting with him about like, dude, we used to have this guy.
I think my best farmer carry right now is 325 a hand for 30 feet. And a frame carry is 625. And I think I carry, or 590 at nationals last year. I had a 590 frame and I carried it 192 feet. And in 60 seconds, and I won the event. And I had to deadlift that thing every 50 feet. So every 50 feet, I would have to set it down and turn, repick, and carry. And so that was, I think I did 6 round trips. So I did deadlift that thing 7 times, and I did 192 feet.
You have video of that, don't you? Yeah. I saw the video of that afterwards. That's pretty insane. We had a guy walk in a while ago. We had people do like a grip dynamometer. Have you ever done one of those?
I have one.
So do you know what you can?
I haven't pulled that thing out in months.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know because this guy is tiny. He's, I don't know, he maybe weighs $150. So he's even smaller than me. and strong as shit. Like his deadlift was, I don't know, he's a pretty high level power lifter. His deadlift's probably up in the fives or something. Is definitely absurd. And he did the grip dynamometer and like was not impressive. And I was mind blown. I was like, how am I like way stronger at that? I'm like, there's no way. Like I still think he just was fucking around. Like I think he was faking it.
You know, I don't train it. I've picked up one farmer carry in the last 2 years. But this is my key. So I've had coaches that are strongman, like world champions. Andrew Clayton was one of my coaches. He's a 3-time world's strongest man at 105. In my opinion, the 105 kilogram weight class is like, it is epic how strong those cats are at 105. Like, I enjoy watching the 105 guys compete. To me, that is just unbelievable. Anyway, his thing was, don't limit yourself in like RDLs and use straps. I refuse to use straps anywhere till I get over probably 475 in a deadlift, and then I'll throw figure eights on. I don't use straps for anything. I pinch carry everything from weights, from bars to bars. I pinch carry everything. I don't use straps for RDLs, even if they're heavy. Like if I can't grip it and do 6 to 8 reps, I don't need to be doing that RDL. My grip needs to be stronger. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And I think that takes my grip a whole lot farther down the road.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have absolutely no doubt about that. And plus, like you have that history to call on too. You have that ability, it's your strength. You're keeping it your strength. What is your toughest event?
Oh, overhead press, dude. Hands down, I have had to work my ass off to get, in my opinion, world-class strength in the overhead press is anything above 275 for 3 reps. That's my opinion. And over 300, you become elite strength. And my goal is a 300-pound, 2-rep log press or overhead axle press. And I've hit 275 with each implement, but I have had to work. That is my nemesis. And even more so, that fucking circus dumbbell. I absolutely hate that fucking thing. Bro, that's my worst event, hands down, bar none, dude.
Do you have all this equipment in your garage gym too? That's sick. Yeah, you have a badass setup. You still have the same setup, right? Yeah, that's absolutely sick. So, okay. We're going in reverse here, but we've been chatting mostly about like what you've been doing lately, which I love, and hopefully we come back to. One thing that I know nothing about, and I say this every time, but I know all my friends come on this podcast, and I know nobody's story in terms of what actually got you started in the military. Because I met you in more of the final couple years of your career.
Yeah, you did. I didn't want to be a farmer. I mean, honestly, I didn't.
Yeah.
I grew up in Iowa. My dad was a hog farmer. Both of my uncles and my grandfather were crop farmers and had cattle. I just didn't want to do it. And then between my senior year, my sophomore, junior year, my buddy went to OSET for a comms job. My best friend, Joe. And then between my senior year, we had one of the guys in my class did the same thing, went that senior summer, and they came back, and I was like, dude, I cannot wait to go to the fucking military. That was the end of it, dude. Now, if you talk to my mom and dad, my parents will tell you that they knew I was going to the military when I was like 8. But I knew the end of my sophomore year what I wanted to do. I'm going to the Army, and so I got in the Army, dude, at 18, and I went to Fort Leonard Wood, and I went through basic training, and I was like, well, this shit sucks. And then I went to AIT and was like, so I can tell you my PT score from my first ever PT test, dude.
Damn.
I did 17 push-ups because I was a pussy. I did 42 sit-ups, which was the Army standard, and I ran my 2 mile in like 10 minutes. It was like 10:20.
Damn.
And all the drills were like, oh my God, dude is fast and has abs, but his upper body strength is absolute shit. So I spent the next like 6 weeks doing push-ups with like sandbags on my back. And I got strong enough and made it to the Army. And I was a carpenter originally. And then I was like, there has to be more to this shit than just being a carpenter. A buddy of mine who I had not seen in almost 20 years is in Vegas. When I was at Nationals, I got to see Al for the first time in years. He has like an 11 or 12-year-old son. And it was cool meeting him. I'd never met his kid before.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to go to Special Forces. And I was like, what's that? And he kind of explained it. So then I started rucking and getting up in the morning and doing the thing. And I went to selection and I made it. And people used to make fun of other people, go, how are you going to quit the Carpenter still here? And that was a big joke.
Nice.
And then a buddy of mine who's a retired third group warrant, Todd Van Langen, Todd said he had a sticker that he wrote that he found that said, my best friend is a Jewish carpenter. And there's a whole story. There's a whole story behind that, man, because I'm not Jewish, but a buddy of mine from Ranger Battalion, there was a tattoo issue with one of the instructors at PLDC and he wasn't happy about it. So then they went and had a pair of dog tags made that said I was Jewish. And then the sticker was found that like my best friend's a Jewish carpenter and it just kind of like morphed from there. So there was that happened. And then I went to group and I spent like 2.5 years in the Q course because I couldn't learn Morse code to save my life.
Oh, no.
So I got recycled a few times and then ended up at first group. And I was there for 14 years. And I went from 2nd Battalion to 1st Battalion in Oki and then came back to 4th Battalion and then did an ops job, did a first sergeant job. And then the Army decided that they were going to make my career up for me. And I was like, that's not fucking happening. So I got it. It was the first time that I couldn't choose my career.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gone. And I retired and I was like, what do I want to do at retirement? And I decided I wanted to play college football. And I have this, like the best advice I ever heard was like, you can't. And my whole theory is, according to my wife, like, here, fucking watch me. So I went, I played college football at the NAIA level and I started and made the travel team and had a good time. And the school was like, none of your military credits count. And you're going to be here for 4 years to get a bachelor's degree. And at that point now it's financial because I'm not 22. I'm a 38-year-old grown man. So I went to online school and then I contracted for a year and then I contracted for another 4 years. And then I took 2 years off to get a master's degree in strength and conditioning and get another degree in Homeland Security and sucked up all my GI Bill. And then I went back to work about 4 months ago. So
what are you doing work-wise now?
I'm contracting at Fort Detrick. And Believe me, it is a complete change from doing things with the soft community and other communities I've worked with to all of a sudden being in R&D where I want to move at the pace of tomorrow and everyone else moves at the pace of last week. So
yeah, I'm definitely still getting used to that. I know you talked some about like finding a team or at least finding a community within like Strongman. I know for me, like I've always struggled to find a team anywhere close to on par with, the Ranger squads that I was a part of out here in the civilian world. And I think the closest I've come has been in the coaching roles, like one with Special Mission Unit 2 with the Thor guys, Rob and Hunter and the PTs, Anya, everybody else, like definitely some badass teams. Right now I'm on a pretty strong team too, but outside of coaching, and maybe that's why I gravitated, hell, maybe it's part of why you've kind of gravitated even towards strength conditioning. Like, I think that community is pretty fucking awesome and generally pretty special and filled with people who are driven to kind of be the best at what they do. Not everybody, but I think there's a big component of that. And I think in a lot of other civilian jobs, you maybe just don't see that.
No, I would agree. I would agree with that. It's such a different dynamic. Like I've made this comment before on my podcast and some people don't understand it. But I say that special operations, and I don't care where you're at. If you're in Ranger Battalion, if you're in group, if you're in the SEALs, if you're a Raider, if you're a Force Recon guy, it's the most toxic fucking environment you could ever be in your life. But it has to be like that. It has to be uber competitive, down to I can tie my fucking boots faster than you can type competitiveness. And so when you leave that, it's really hard to adjust to there's a clip that I will send you that there is a guy was on Sean Ryan. He was a SEAL Team 6 guy on the Bin Laden raid. And he talks about we have LPTSD, not PTSD. And, of course, Sean Ryan's like, what does that mean? He goes, lack of traumatic stress. He's like, think about it. Every night for years or months on end, we would go out and get into a gunfight with your friends or mine or do inherently dangerous shit at night with night vision. And then all of a sudden, you jumping out of airplanes, you doing all kinds of this inherently dangerous, cool shit that you love to do with all your best friends, and everything is awesome. And then one day you hand in your ID card and you walk off post and it's all gone. And how do you recover from that?
Yeah, and how do you? Something I talk on similar is then you start to create your own shit show.
Bro,
right. And so yeah, so like we can do that a few ways, right? We can do that with like drugs, partying, alcohol, promiscuity, you fucking name it. Like, hey, how much can I tiptoe the line of what I shouldn't be doing? Or you can be a little bit more intentional about it, systematically, target something like you are with Strongman. Like I finally figured out with, mountain biking, skiing, like, hey, there's somewhere I can put this risky behavior that also has like a little bit of a health component to it. Heaven forbid.
No, I haven't drank in a year and a half. However, if you don't count New Year's Eve, I haven't drank in 3 years. Because the only time I would drink is I drank champagne 2 New Year's, probably, what was this year? 25, 26? So 24, 25 and 23, 24, I had champagne on New Year's Eve. Other than that, I haven't had an ounce of liquor except for that in 3 years. And I would black out, bro. I woke up one night pissed on the floor. Like, it was just like, this has got to be, and then I still was doing shit like 2-3 years ago, and it almost cost me my marriage. And so I had to unfuck myself. And luckily I didn't cross a fucking line I couldn't come back from. And I was feeling sorry for myself. Like, oh, maybe there's some depression. Let me go find drugs. Fuck depression, drugs, dude. Those things make you not give a fuck about anything. And I mean, not give a fuck about anything. And it just forced you, and then you almost make bad decisions. And so, I was like, I've got to figure this shit out, man. And so I think Jen and I are in a better spot now than we've ever been.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome. And it was just one of those things, man. Like, dude, it's so hard, man. Like, the adjustment is so hard. And I've made a ton of Strongman friends that I talk to on a daily basis now, or at least a weekly basis, that I compete with or have competed with in the past that I get along with very, very well. And so I don't think anything can replace what you had in 275. And there's nothing that's probably going to replace what I had in first group. But bro, you get a 70% solution, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, 70% is sustainable.
It's massive, dude.
Yeah.
So massive.
Yeah.
And like a training cycle, you spent your whole life in the military in a training cycle, right? And so that's what I do now. Like, I'm spending X amount of time in a training cycle, and then I compete. Then I reset, I do general strength, and then I get into a competition mode. And, I came back from the Arnold's kind of feeling sorry for myself. And I was like, I've completed all my goals in the last 5 years. And I set out to go to nationals. I've been a qualifier since 2022, I think. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 5 years. I'm going to compete this year, which will be the third year I've competed at nationals. I've been 2 top 10 finishes. I think one was 6, one was 9. And then I just finished 9th at the Arnold. And I'm like, what do I have left to do? Like, where do I go from here? Like, fuck high rocks. I don't want to run that much. So what do I do here? Right? Like, and I decided to go to nationals. And then now I talk to other strongman guys, and I'm like, guys that are competed at a high level, in my opinion. I'm like, hey, what comps are you going to this year? And then I try to meet up with 1 or 2 of them at a comp, and we all compete together and try to see who can do what.
What I think's awesome about your Strongman is it's not just a physical endeavor for you, because you are also building your own training.
Dude.
So talk about that.
Fuck.
If it won't stress you out too much.
No. So I started out with Hunter. I called Hunter and I said, I want to do Strongman. He's like, so you want to be the baddest guy on the planet? I was like, well, yeah. So he put me through a grueling year, maybe 18 months. And then he was making some changes in his life. And so he had to go other places. And then I went with Blair, and Blair was awesome. The problem is that Blair just had his 3rd child, I believe, and they were all under the age of 7. And I'm like, bro, you have no fucking time. Yeah. So I went with Kabuki before they went out, and I didn't like the guy from Kabuki. He would always tell me, like, you can't do this. I don't think you're strong enough. I'm all right, motherfucker. And then I went to Andy Clayton, a guy that I met through my buddy Josh in Pittsburgh that owns 580 Barbell. And he puts on awesome comps. And I trained with Andrew for about a year. And he is a 3-time world's strongest man at 105. He is a fucking rock star. And I was halfway through my strength and conditioning degree. And I was like, if I can't train myself, how can I legitimately train other people with a fucking master's degree? And I didn't take the master's degree to become a fucking coach. I took the master's degree selfishly to become a better athlete because I wanted to win. I enjoy winning comps, but I enjoy the process of getting stronger and being able to go and show people what I'm capable of doing there. And so I started programming for myself in the spring of 24. And I cut a deal with Andy. I said, if I go to PA Strongest and I don't podium or I don't place in the top 2, I'm going to come crawling back on my hands and knees for you to coach me again because I suck. And I got second, and that was kind of a shit show, but I've done well ever since. I think I've won every comp I've been to except for nationals and the Arnolds since then. And so it is, dude, I did not realize how much a pain in the ass programming was that you guys, like I think of you and Hunter and Rob as these like fucking geniuses that can write this shit out overnight. And I'm like, how do they do this so easy? Like, this fucking sucks. Like, does this go with that? Can I pair that? Does that fuck me for tomorrow? Does that screw me for next week? Do I need to add a pair of legs? Cause I'm not doing legs till day 5. And God, it's just, it's a constant battle, man, but I enjoy it.
I think part of it too is like, there's 20% of it that you know is going to achieve 80% of the results. And it's like, you get that in there first. That's not a big deal. Next thing you know, you're spending 30 minutes trying to figure out like the third auxiliary exercise that probably isn't going to make any fucking difference on the planet. And you're just overthinking the hell out of it. You're like, well, it should be 12 reps or 15 reps. But if it's 15 reps, and it's like, dude, none of it even fucking matters at that point. So I definitely understand your programming pain. And then part of it too is sometimes you do just have to see what happens, and no better person to experiment with, especially as a coach, than yourself. The other thing that you see is, yeah, it was a great idea when you wrote it up, and then you got to do it.
I told you about, so Nate and I were having a conversation, I think 2 weeks ago. And my old program, if I had 16 weeks open, I would do 5 sets of 8 for main. All my other lifts are, depending on what they are, how heavy, and reps, like triceps, I'll go to like 20 reps at whatever, just to fill my muscle with so much blood that they're just almost painful. But I would do 5x8 for 4 weeks, then 5x5, then 3x5, and then 5x3. So it was still 15 on the last 8 weeks, but it was a different intensity. And your comment back was, well, the 5x8 makes 5x5 seem better. Bro, 40 reps at front squat at like 280. Cause I had it then too, where I would, whatever I worked up to, I had to do all 40 reps at that weight. And then I introduced the VBT to it, and holy shit, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, I love what you got going on now. And even though this isn't really like a strength and conditioning podcast overall, definitely, I think if nothing else, just a feature of like stress management. Talk right now about how your weekly and then your flip on the bi-weekly.
So I know that you're not a fan of the guy, but I watched the Australian strength coach, and Sebastian was like, this is how there's a discrepancy between Thor's deadlift and his squat, and it was sizable.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I can make your legs stronger, your legs will want to move faster, which will allow you to pull more in a deadlift. And I was like, that's genius. Like, why didn't I think of that? So he was like, how I would do it is if I did heavy deadlifts, I would do a speed light squat day. So what I'm doing, and I just started this past week, so this is the first week I'm doing it. So day 1, I did light overhead. So like 135, 10 sets of 1 every minute on the minute, and it has to move with a VBT at 0.8. Then yesterday I did 4 sets of 6 on deadlift, and they were heavy. And then I took today off to let my central nervous system kind of rejuvenate. And then day 4, I'll do a horizontal press. So I stopped bench pressing for almost a year because I tore my pec last year and it scared the shit out of me. But I just tore the muscle belly, so it healed in about 6 weeks. I got super lucky, dude. And I didn't tear it here. I tore it here. And I don't know what happened or how. If you've never torn a pec, remember, I will tell you, you will know immediately that you've torn your pectoral muscle because it feels like shit and then it swells to about 4 times the size.
So that's how I get my chest bigger. Got it.
Yes. And
noted.
It will never look the same ever again. So I bench will be heavy because I correlate bench with overhead press, right? And then so my squats will be day 5, and this week there will be 10 sets of 2 at 2 something. And then I'll take days 6 and 7 off, and then I will restart, but I'll opposite that. I'll do heavy overhead, speed and power on deadlifts, take a day off, do a speed and power on bench, and then the next day it'll be heavy squats for 4 sets of 6. And I'm undulating, so not only days, but I'm also undulating weeks. And I'm going to do it for 12 weeks until I get to my last 4 weeks before nationals. And then I go into where I do a lot of doubles and triples. I never do a 1 rep max unless I'm at a comp where I'm doing like doing Wessel rolls with max deadlift, and then I'll try to pull what's heavy. But usually I try to do no less than doubles.
Yeah. What are you changing the sets and reps scheme over the course of this too, or?
Yeah, so I'm doing 4x6 these first 4 weeks. The next 4 weeks I believe is 4x4. Then the next week is 3x5, and then the last week is 3. The last 4 weeks would be 3x3.
And that's on your heavy days.
Yeah, so those sets and reps are only for your main lifts. Like everything, like I'll do RDLs with deadlifts, and it'll be 3 sets 8 or 3 sets at 12 at like anywhere between 250 and 350. And then I will do anything I do triceps is always 15 to 20 reps on a 1-to-1 on my slinger from Sorinex. I try to do 15 to 20 reps just. So I went to Dave Tate's Train Your Ass Off at Elite FTS in 2021. And he was like, you're failing your squat because your erectors suck. Okay. Then he went to deadlift and he's like, you can deadlift a lot, but again, I didn't understand the whole push off the floor thing. That shit never made any sense to me. And he's like, your erectors are what's failing you in your back. And I'm like, okay. And then I went to bench and I failed at just over 300 or maybe 335. And he's like, you didn't fail because of technique. You failed because your triceps suck. So I've spent the last 4 years training my erectors and training my triceps to the fullest extent that I can without overdoing it.
Yep. Yeah, I will say, like, even for us, like looking back, if I could change a few things, one would probably be more direct back work and even more direct low back work for operators. It's tough because it's got to be like within tolerance, and then you got to be cognizant of what they're doing outside of the weight room. Like that's part of what our hesitance is there. And then the other is, which ties into something else that I'll try to say if I remember. The other is probably more direct calf work as well, but similar story there where, you know, you if you're blowing somebody's calves up and then they're jumping and then they're moving, you know, load carriage, or they're trying to move fast or uphill or whatever. So you got to balance all that. But all that to say, we could have done a better job if we better knew the schedule, which you already made the point earlier of, like, even within one team, the schedule is all over the fucking place,
Dude.
Let alone each person. And so I think part of the way you overcome that is maybe options and a little bit of education to give guys some freedom of movement to make decisions based on other shit, but some will make good decisions and some will not, right?
I mean, and that's a hard place. It's hard for you guys, right? Because you're training a bunch of guys in special operations that are fucking going to the 4 wins, or they'll go on a 6 or 8 month deployment. And some guys go over there and they just do nothing but lift weights and eat protein shakes. And then other guys go over there and they're on their feet doing missions all the time. And so they end up losing 40 pounds and 15 of its muscle mass because they're just burning it off. And then they come back and they got to basically start all the back over. And then you have, like, my entire lower lumbar spine is herniated. I have all 4 of my discs are herniated. However, I don't have any back pain. I have 0 back pain. And I'm convinced that I don't have back pain because I keep my erectors so strong. And the stronger I can keep my erectors and the stronger I can keep my hips, I know that I'm going to get hip replacements, and at some point my back is going to have to be fused. That's a no-brainer. But I'm trying to put that off as long as humanly possible. And the only way to do it is to stay strong.
Dude, that's exactly it. You can have people with the exact same imaging and totally different symptoms, totally different lifestyle, because you're still controlling the controllables. All you can do is all you can do. You're still doing shit to stay strong, stave that off, as opposed to being like, broken.
I had a kid I played college football with. He had played 2 years at South Dakota State, transferred. And I don't know, like midway through the season, he was like, went to a doctor. Like, you have a herniated disc. You can't play football anymore. Like, fuck, bro. Really? But they convinced the kid, right? Like, you have a herniated disc. You can't do anything. Everything's bad for you. Like, yeah, I have 4 herniated discs, but guess what? If you keep the muscles in your back strong, and you learn to breathe and brace. Like, I didn't know how to breathe and brace. And when I learned how to breathe and brace, dude, that shit is a game changer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I had to relearn how to breathe. I would put a sandbag, on my gut and lay on the floor and make sure I just push the sandbag so that my chest doesn't rise and fall. Now, I have other things that have really, like, I can't get under a squat bar and squat like this. I don't have the shoulder mobility. Like, I just can't. It just hurts. So I use the rogue version of a Duffalo bar to squat when I back squat. But that also helps me because because of that curve, it takes the weight off the center of my spine. And so when I do speed reps, I use that. When I do heavy sets, I use an SSB. So I'm not just destroying my back for no reason.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. Like, the exercise is a fucking tool, right? And like, even though you're competing in something that is obviously strength and exercise dominant, you don't have to be the best at back squat. And so there are other options at your disposal.
Correct. Yeah. Like, I did a lot of incline press for years because I didn't like benching. Dude, like, I have a huge deadlift for a 47-year-old man and a fairly decent squat, and I can't bench over about 325.
Damn.
Dude, my bench sucks. It's always sucked.
Is it still your triceps? You also have long arms. Don't you have long arms?
Yeah. So everyone always like, oh, it's all relative. For the first time ever, Andy Clayton was like, I understand why your overhead press sucks, because your wingspan is about 4 inches longer than most people's, because your wingspan is supposed to be your height. Well, mine's not 76 inches. It's like 82. So I have like an extra 3 inches than most ergonomically people have to press besides. And I know that's not a total excuse and I don't like making it, but it is a lot harder to get that extra, especially off a bench press. And I use a cambered bar. I have a multi-grip Rogue Swiss bar that I use.
Yeah.
So I floor press a lot because I have a shoulder issue. I don't really want to do any more cortisone shots. I got 2 in each arm at this point.
I feel like if anybody had any question about how badass your gym is, just you listing all the different specialty bars you have, I'm like, shit. I don't even need to use those, and I want to come hang out just to use those.
Let's see. I have a multi-grip bar, 2 Rogue bars, just straight bars, like Olympic lifting bars, like the Ohio bar. I have a multi-grip cambered bar, Rogue Swiss bar. I have a cambered spider bar, so the one that comes out and then dips really low and goes in.
Yep.
I got that from Elite FTS. I have an SS yoke. I have a rackable curl bar that I use to do JM presses because it makes your wrist feel so much better than trying to cock them with a regular bar. I have a 10-inch and a 12-inch log. I have an axle. And I have 2 farmer carries. I think that's it. I think that's all the bars I have. I have more bars than a Division III school that I was coaching at, volunteer-wise. The head coach there's awesome. Brett Sable is such a great dude. Him and Phil Betterly. And they're like, bro, you have more specialty bars at your house than a D3 school.
Dude, that's hilarious. So on a similar note, tell us a little bit about Sentinel Strength podcast. Like what started that? Yeah.
I started it with my buddy Chris Rubio. Was like, you like to talk, so you'd probably be good at this. And so, he was my long snapping coach. So he kind of got me into it. And then I wanted to do it for guys that were veterans that were starting businesses and were trying to get their name out there. Then it kind of morphed at one point to strength and conditioning coaches. There was like a dozen of those guys on, like you and Hunter, and Blair's canceled on me. Rob refuses to come on still. He's like, oh, I haven't trained in a while. I'm like, bro, you're probably one of the best programmers I've ever met in my life. And you refuse to talk about it. Oh, I'm not lifting that heavy anymore. Stop, dude.
Hey, Rob, you're not listening to this, but I'm going to cut this and send it to you in a text. You're being selfish. You are being selfish. You have talent to share with the world. Get on Nick's podcast and fucking share your talent. Okay.
But it started with veterans and strength, and I've become one of those guys where I like contracting, but I find the interest of, I probably watch 50 hours a month, if not more, in strength and conditioning podcasts just to see what you can't do all of it. Like if you follow, and there's some really bad shit on YouTube, like really bad. Brian Alsrew came on. He lives about 40, 50 miles from me. Shout out to that guy. Him and his wife just had their first baby. So they're doing sleepless nights right now.
Oof.
But he has been an awesome asset to have within a 50-mile radius because his training is solid and he's competed at a high level at Strongman. So he's helped me with a lot of different stuff. And I've become good friends with him over the last 4 or 5 years.
What is the coolest part about training for Strongman?
Dude, like last night, like I deadlifted 575 pounds 6 times after I did 525, and 550. And in 2 weeks, I want to go 6, 575, 550, 525. Like, can I do 600 pounds? It's one of those like, it's almost a mindset like you are on a range, right? Like, or you're doing a JCS exercise. All right, let's just do it. So I'm in the mindset when I go to the gym, it's just like, well, I look at my weights, I'm like, fuck, this is going to be so heavy. And then when you get it, you put it on the bar, you're like, well, here we go. I guess we got to do this. I hope I don't shit my pants while I'm doing this. And then you just breathe and brace and go for it. And I've learned to take breath. If you notice in the video I sent last night, like you'll notice that I breathe and brace at the top of my reps. So when I go down, I already have that belly full of air.
I did notice that.
I've learned a bunch of techniques over the last probably 8 months as I learned how to like deadlift, and it just keeps going up and up and up. And the journey, man, it has been awesome to see. My first Strongman comp, I think I was 8 of 16, and I was competing in novice, and then I went and competed in enter novice and got 4th. And then I went and competed in 1 in novice, and then I went to the masters category. And to compete with dudes that are in their 40s that are legit. And now I compete with guys that are 41 and pros and are now in the masters category. Like the guy that was got 3rd at the Arnolds this year. He's a pro. He's been a pro for 10 years. And he's now 41. So he's like, I'm going to compete in the masters group, right? And he's from Chile, and he's a super cool dude, and he's funny as shit. Competing with guys like that just makes you want to lift your game. Like, fuck that. You are not going to outdo me in this. Like, this is not going to happen. Like the yoke carry. I've never lost a yoke carry to date. And I've only lost 1 grip event, and that was at the Arnold's, and I got beat by 0.3 of a second.
Damn. I hope you went first.
Dude, I got beat by, I'll say this. I got beat by John Doyle. So John Doyle is this ambulance EMT guy from New York City, and he competed in America's Strongest Firefighter on Friday, got like 5th, competed in the 105 category on Saturday in the Pro-Am, and then competed on Sunday with us and won. And the dude is 41 years old, and he is a fucking monster, dude. Dude, I'm like, how do you recover?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Since we've heard Mitchell Hooper come out and say, hey, I take 700 milligrams of testosterone a week, which is 3 times what I take in my TRT, which TRT is nothing but legally a doctor prescribing me steroids, let's be honest. And I keep my testosterone at like somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100. So, but, you know, I mean, fuck it, whatever, man. I love competing against John because he pushes you harder. He pushes you like Jonathan Wimbley. He pushes you harder. Jason Stodall is one of my really good friends nowadays that I competed against 2 or 3 times. And I love talking. I talk to him probably once a week for 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the phone. And he's just one of those dudes, man, that I absolutely love talking with. And he makes me a better athlete.
Dude, I fucking love this because you always wonder, you know, working with guys and especially senior guys, and they're transitioning out, and you're like, where the fuck is he going to go and what the fuck is he going to do? And you just don't know, right? Like, you just don't know. And I know that it's easier said than done to go find the next thing. And it's never a lack of capability, but it's a lack of like, or can you find the combination of passion and sustainability and, all of these things. And by the way, at the same time, not, go down a shitty path and fuck shit up. So really freaking awesome that you found this. It's been so cool. Like, I don't know, here's someone who used to be ignorant to these things and just be curious about it and come in and lift weights and talk shop. And now you're like, there's probably a good chance you know more about programming than I do at this point. So like, I'm
Dude,
like I'm not consuming as much strength and conditioning content as you are.
my 3 favorite people in the world. And it sucks that I don't get to talk to you guys as much as possible, but you, Rob, Hunter, and Blair, so 4. But Blair wasn't there that long, so he influenced my life later, but he's still part of that. But you 3 guys influenced me in a way that I don't think I can ever repay. Like, it was phenomenal. Like, my fondest memory of you is those fucking sled pushes you had us doing. Where, like, if you couldn't do it in a certain time, like, you would have to, like, you got I don't remember what you, but I remember guys like almost vomiting. And there were a couple of us that would just start calling guys out. And you were like, oh, this is awesome. And it just got, that 6 weeks was one of my fondest memories of you coaching us, was just, and then Rob and his fucking plate pushes, man. I have such fond memories of you guys. Like, when I started at Thor, squatting 225 was a feat for me. I think they put like 135 on the bar and had to teach me how to squat correctly. And now I'm a 500-pound squatter, right? Like, just the growth I've had and the love that I have for, strength and conditioning has been just awesome. That's all I want to do is program and tell people, like, hey, try this and not that. Like, this will work for you. I've done this. It didn't work, but it might work for you. You can try this. This is how. And I don't really have those people that are in my life that I can talk to about that. So I just internalize it and program for myself and then play around with other programs. And so.
Have you ever thought about going to, well, I guess you said you used all your GI Bill, and I think you need your GI Bill now to go. I was going to say going down to UHP where Hunter and Blair are.
So I have 30 days of GI Bill left, and it's a 19-day program. So I have thought about going down there, but here, as a matter of fact, I was talking about my wife with that last night. Here's my issue. Not that I know fucking everything, because I don't know shit. And the classes would be very informative for me. But I don't want to go down and start lifting and then look like an asshole because I'm just fucking, I have this, like, I would feel like an asshole to go there. Is almost what I told Jen. I was like, and I don't know if that sounds arrogant as fuck of me or not, but I'm like, a lot of these guys are veterans that are getting into it and are starting and want to throw around a little bit of weight and they want to do it for fun and they want to do some personal training. And I'm like, fuck you, I'll destroy everybody in this fucking gym because that's my mindset, right? Hunter has said that. He's like, God help every coach in that fucking gym if you show up to do a cohort, man.
Yeah.
And so maybe I've talked to Hunter and I said, him and Blair, I said, hey, what weeks would you guys want me to come down for 2 or 3 days where I'll maneuver my lifts so I can get 2 or 3 lifts in with you guys. And if you want me to hang out with a class, I can. If not, you can keep me as far away from those fucking guys as you want. Like, what's your guys' thing on that? Blair said something about this summer, and getting a hold of Hunter and having him answer a text message back is like pulling fucking teeth. So you never know. But I've thought about going down. I would love to go down and spend 19 days just to kind of hang out and lift weights. But at the same point, I'm like, am I wasting a space for somebody that's there and I've thought about getting my CSCS, but then I see what like D3 coaches are making and I don't really want to move. And I'm like, I'm not working fucking 80 hours a week for 30 grand, which is what they're paying dudes at fucking D3 schools right now.
Yeah.
And people bitch about H2F, like, oh, it's 50 to 80. Like, have you seen what D3 and NAIA schools are paying? Like, that's good money for a strength coach.
I mean, there's a reason that those jobs are getting taken. The field just doesn't, it's an issue at large for the field, no doubt. Running your own show is always a good option, but I mean, I think you've landed in a good spot right now. It sounds like you're still passionate about it, consuming a bunch, doing what you want to do as opposed to like, oh, it's another week, time to make the fucking donuts. Like, yeah.
Like I talked to you last night, or 2 nights ago, I'm like, I've got to get rid of this. I got to find another software. These are the 2 I'm going to go with. Like, and then I ended up going with Team Builder, and now I'm going to do a thing. And then I found out that after I bought my year of Team Builder, like if I want to use the fucking the other piece of the core software, I got to pay extra money. I'm like, fuck. But that's where all the fatigue, I want all of that data, the fatigue data. I want it to register my VBT and all that stuff. So, yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I can't thank you, Hunter, Rob, and Blair enough for what you guys did for me. And so I feel like all I'm doing now is paying the shit back.
I mean, cool. Definitely cool to hear that stuff because we don't, I think we underestimate the impact that we can have. And like you said, the culture piece, hopefully coaches realize the power they have within the culture. Like, yeah, you're not in charge. You don't need to be. You can still influence from the bottom up and you can still create a positive atmosphere. And if you're waiting for command to be the difference, you can be waiting for a hell of a long time. And now I don't say that to take onus off command either. Like leaders better lead and get their guys the resources they need to be successful physically in the job and all that. But like, if we're all just here fucking pointing at each other like a Spider-Man meme, who's gonna?
Well, like I said, if you want to influence H2F it's going to take 10 years. You're going to have to start with junior NCOs. You can identify these guys. If you've spent any time in the military, you can identify E4s, E5s, and E6s that are going to stay in long haul times. You can identify O1s, O2s, and O3s, and maybe a couple O4s. And if you can influence those guys when they come back to take companies and battalions, they're now going to be like, you gave me a phenomenal product. So instead of bitching about how the command needs to do more, influence the young guys, influence what you can. Know your constraints and variables and influence the shit out of the variables. And down the road, you will change. Think of yourself as a plank holder in H2F to change Army culture and human performance. And if you can take that attitude, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I have often said that we won't know the success of a program like Thor, like H2F, until the person who came in as a cherry day one, EO1, is someday down the road a 4-star general. Like, that's how long these ships take to turn around.
That's 27 years.
Yeah. So anybody who's looking for hey, right now, right here, like, that ain't going to happen, but you can build the foundation.
Now, like we've talked about, you're going to get some senior NCOs. Like I was one of those guys. There are a couple other dudes. And you're going to get some senior officers that will buy in right away because they enjoy training. They enjoy not having to think and put PT plans together. And they can come in and do it, right? But those are going to be very few and far between. You've got to think of yourself as a plank holder. And H2F is even younger than Thor. Thor's been around 15, almost 20 years. H2F's been around for what, 5 to 7? Bro, you're just making company commanders now.
Exactly.
Maybe majors.
Yeah, you got to play the long game. You got to be a little bit patient. I understand the frustrations, but I also understand the long game. So aside from fixing H2F, which we're both very well positioned to do because we have massive opinions, what would be, you already know how this goes because you've been listening to some of these podcasts, but what would be that one bit of advice that you would give to veterans? Really doesn't matter what stage in the game they're at, or if there's a specific subset you want to speak to, go for it. But kind of what would be that one thing that you would, whisper in their ear, so to speak?
Don't let anybody tell you can't. I've heard it. I heard it when I was retiring. Like, you're never going to be able to play college football. Okay, fucking watch me. And that's the end of my podcast says that. It's like the best two words of advice I ever got were you can't. You can. I never thought I would ever be this strong or this competitive or setting at the fact that in 3 years when I turned 50, I could win in Arnold's. Like, at no point did I ever think that was possible in my life. And here it is. And people have said, you're never going to be able to lift that. You're never going to be able to compete here. You're not going to be able to do this. And take the whiny bitchiness out of your voice and just say, when someone tells you no, be like, watch me. Just watch what I am capable of doing. The human body and the human psyche are huge. And if you take a little bit of spirituality and you put a little God in your life and you put a little bit of thought in your life and you try to steer the ship the right way as best you can, and you don't take no for an answer, you're going to be successful.
Hell yes. No better way to shut somebody up than go do the thing they said you can't. Just fucking watch me. I love it. Nick, dude, thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate it, Nate.